welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devon.
I'm Dan.
And today, on a very special episode, I'm going to tell Dan about some internet drama.
Yeah, these are always kind of fun because as a shut-in, I don't know internet drama.
And as someone who spends too much time on YouTube, I do know about internet drama.
Yeah, it's like I know about some, but I don't know about like when big things like this happens, or like I don't even know who these people are that you're about to talk about.
This is exciting.
Yeah.
My YouTube algorithm is so screwed up right now. It's every day it's recommending one of the videos that you made for our YouTube channel that's about you reviewing like board games from like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, because I haven't done one of those in a while.
I know, it's like, hey, you really need to watch this review of Rising Sun. Like, what the fuck, YouTube?
Well, maybe you should watch it.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I think I already have. Also, I think you told me about it too, so.
Well, I was saying we've played Rising Sun.
Yeah, I don't need a review. I know it's fun.
Yeah.
Which one's right? Oh, wait, yeah, we did, didn't we? We played that recently.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Okay, with my parents.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I remember now. See, I don't remember names or dates or anything, but eventually I get there. But today I wrote down notes, so I will get names and dates correct.
Yeah, and just to go back to like you're saying with the algorithm stuff, that it's like, since I'm clearly not interested in anything that these people are associated with, like it never comes up. Right.
All right. So I guess we'll start, even though you've kind of already answered this. I'm going to be talking about the Try Guys drama. Dan, what do you know about the Try Guys?
Again, I've heard the name.
Okay.
But nothing else.
Great. So I'm going to give you some history, some backstory. I'm going to weave you a rich tapestry of Try Guys lore.
Nice.
And then I will go into what actually happened in September.
Okay.
So, the Try Guys members, the OG Try Guys, are Keith Habitsberger, Zach Kornfeld, Eugene Liang, and Ned Fulmer. They were all working at BuzzFeed together in 2014, and they did a video all together called Guys Try Women's Underwear. And then it was released to a huge success, and so that became like a recurring show on BuzzFeed where they would try different things. And at first it was kind of smaller things like trying women's underwear, trying sexy Halloween costumes. And then as the show got more popular, they got to do really cool stuff like they tried dog sledding in Alaska. For Keith, I believe it was Keith's bachelor party, they were able to throw him like $100,000 bachelor party in Vegas because
Nice.
of their BuzzFeed connections. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just saying that must be like part of the greater, like, or it was spun off from like, because I think it was BuzzFeed that also did like videos where people would try snacks from around the world, right? Kind of thing. So
Yeah, same vibe, but just because it was like the 4 of them, they had good chemistry, people really liked it. And over time they became friends, like, or so they say. I mean, I don't know what's in their hearts or minds, but the lore is that they've eventually become best friends through doing all these like unique, crazy, having those opportunities and getting to try things that most people don't get to try.
Sure.
So we'll fast forward a bit. In 2017, while they were still at BuzzFeed, they were able to do a YouTube Red series called Squad Wars that lasted, I think, 1 season, where like they would try something versus another squad of friends. So I think they did something with like drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race, for example. They kind of did like a competition with them. So they were gaining popularity. In 2018, they made the decision to leave BuzzFeed and start their own company called Second Try. And after some legal battles, they were able to retain the Try Guys name, and they have their own YouTube channel now called Try Guys. They also own Second Try, which I think is actually really funny because their second channel is just like compilations out of context from the Try Guys channel, and they title them like they're a 14-year-old who's made an edit being like, Try Guy moments that cured my depression. But it's like, it's them doing it, which I think is really, it's really smart because like get that ad money, I guess.
Sure.
But it's also like really kind of, it's funny that they're making compilations of their own stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, it's so like other people that don't want to watch a full episode, they can just like see these moments, but it's them doing it rather than someone else doing it. It's kind of smart, like you said.
Yeah, it's smart, but it's also funny that like you're essentially making fan edits of your own stuff.
Yeah.
So when they formed Second Try, they hired some producers. They have, like full-time editors. Like they have a staff. I'm guessing like 20 to 25 people that work for them now. Mm-hmm. Like they have a social media manager. They also they started a podcast called The Tripod. So they have like podcast people. They got video people. They got people. They have a real company that does things that pay people.
Yeah. Based on internet content.
Based on internet content. In 2019, they wrote a New York Times best-selling book called The Hidden Power of Fucking Up, which I assume had a lot to do with the fact that they're internet stars. That year, they also launched their Legends of the Internet tour that they did over the States. And I know they came to Vancouver. I don't know if they went anywhere else in Canada, but they did this big show with musical numbers and pyrotechnics and comedy and the whole thing, dance numbers, whatever. And then they also made a documentary of that, which is available now for free on YouTube, but before it was like it was like a pay-per-view thing.
Right.
And then in 2021, they got a deal with the Food Network to do a show called No Recipe Road Trip, which is based on, so they have some recurring shows that they do, like on their channel. So they'll do Without a Recipe, which is when the four guys try to make something and they don't have a recipe. So it'll be like ice cream cakes, and they have to make the cake and they have to make the ice cream and then they have to assemble it. And then it gets judged by other YouTube food people. Although sometimes they get Roy Choi to judge, which is kind of cool. They have a little show called Keith Eats the Menu, where he'll go to a restaurant and order everything and then rate them. Well, not rate them, but like taste everything on the menu and say whether or not he likes it.
Yeah.
They have Rank King, which Eugene will take something like beer and taste them all and then rank them from worst to best. And then they have, I actually really like this show, 4 versus 1, where the 4 of them have to compete with an expert. And it's all 4 of them versus 1 expert, and they try to beat them at their thing. So like they did 4 versus 1 crossword puzzles. So right. four of them were working on 1 crossword puzzle, and then the expert was trying to do 4 crossword puzzles in the same time that it took them to do 1.
Yeah, nice.
It's really fun to watch. Like the chess one's cool too, because it was the 4 of them versus 1 guy playing chess, and then the chess master was blindfolded, so he was just doing it all in his head, like 4 games at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyways, Without a Recipe, I think, is one of their more popular shows, and they ended up getting a Food Network show called No Recipe Road Trip that was originally just supposed to be like a one-off, but it ended up getting made into a 6-episode miniseries that I believe is airing now. No, it's probably over now because it came out in August 2021.
Yeah.
That brings us almost up to date. as you can tell, or sorry, August 2022 is when it came out. So they're doing well. They've got, they got books, they got movies, they got a lot of merch, and
shows.
They got the shows. They did a tour. They all have personal projects that they're working on,
No, I was gonna say it's very interesting from what you've described is that not only have they've gone beyond just their internet fame to like get a Food Network show and stuff like that. Because I'm trying to think of like equivalent like Linus Tech Tips and stuff like that. Like Linus runs it and stuff, and he does other things. But I still don't know if you were to like he doesn't have a show on like a tech network of some sort, or not that there is on TV really, but like or just like a super popular cosplayer. Like some of them could probably do. There could be like a few episode miniseries about how they do stuff, but they don't really do that content or whatever, right? So yeah, it's good on them.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool the way they built up their company, and I wouldn't say that they're like mainstream famous. Like I wouldn't think that they're not necessarily going to be recognized by people older than us.
Well, or I was gonna say, of course, like they haven't broken into such that like I even knew who they were.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're not a Kardashian, but I think they've done a really good job of like carving out like a cool little business, and they all have stuff going on the side too. So Keith has a hot sauce company called Keith's Hot Sauce.
Sure. And
then he also has a band called Lou Burger who do like comedy music. They're actually doing an off-Broadway show next year, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, nice.
And Zach Kornfeld has a tea company where he like makes different teas that you can buy. So yeah, it's like really cool. Eugene went to the Met Gala, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So they're all doing super well, and nothing bad ever happens. So that's it. That's the whole story.
Story complete.
Well, okay. Before I get into the actual drama, I think I should explain kind of their internet personas a little bit to you.
Yeah.
Because it's relevant. So they all have partners, and their partners are actually involved in a lot of videos and series as well. So Becky is Keith's partner, Maggie is Zach's partner, Eugene is with Matt, and Ned is with Ariel. They have a podcast called You Can Sit With Us, where it's all the like Try Guys partners, which is kind of cool.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm going to go through their personas. So Keith is tall and has a big mouth and is very funny, and I guess he's just like a tall, kind of goofy, friendly guy. Zach is like a short, kind of goofy, kind of like up for anything type of guy who likes to have fun. And Eugene is like the hot one, also very funny, gay. He actually did a really cool coming out video that is like, it's like basically like interpretive dance, but it's like really, really well done.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a huge production. Like he has like tons of background dancers, and I think he wrote the music for it, and I think he choreographed it, and it's like, no, it's not done in a single shot because there's lots of costume changes. So
sure.
But it was very cool. But yeah, he's kind of like hot and evil is his persona.
Okay.
And then Ned, his entire personality is that he loves his wife and kids. He's married to Ariel, and he has 2 boys. And it seems like that's an exaggeration that I'm assigning to him after the fact, but it's not. If you go back and watch the videos, his whole thing is that he loves his wife. That's it. That's his only personality. He's from Florida. He likes soccer, and he loves his wife. More than anything. That brings us to September of 2022. On Labor Day, some fans of the Try Guys We're at a night. No, I'm a little bit fuzzy. I thought it was a nightclub, but it might have been a Harry Styles concert. And they caught Ned on camera, like on pictures and video, making out with one of the producers from the Try Guys, who is not his wife.
I was about to say, and not his partner, I assume. Yeah.
Not his partner, significantly younger than him, and his employee. I'm going to tell you what happened from the perspective of the fans first, and then I'm going to tell you what, based on like interviews they've done and stuff, what was happening behind the scenes. Really, nobody saw this footage until like the last week of September. It went viral on TikTok. Like, I run the TikTok for the store that I work at, and I kind of scroll through to see what's trending so that I can try to jump on the trend and shoehorn the store into it somehow. And,
as we've talked about before,
yeah. And every video that I scrolled through was about Ned cheating on his wife. Like, no joke. And like, it's the store's one. We don't follow them. I don't think I've ever looked them up on the store's account. I know that it's on my phone and it probably talked to my YouTube or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But every video was, and at first I was like, this is a really grainy, shitty video, so it can't be true. And then about an hour later, the Try Guys put a statement on Twitter and Instagram saying that Ned was fired. That they have fired Ned from the Try Guys. All of the, like within that hour, all of their banners changed to not include him.
Oh, wow.
All of their profiles picture changed to not include him. They took him out of any bios that he was in.
Jeez.
And then I started seeing videos like about it. Oh, sorry. One more thing before I get into that. And then a few minutes after their statement went up, Ned posted a statement with the exact same font that said that he was taking a step back from the Try Guys to focus on his family, and that he had had a consensual relationship with a work colleague. That he lost focus and had a consensual relationship.
Oh, no.
And then Ariel also posted in the same font as the other two, "Thank you for your support. We're going to work on our marriage. Goodbye. Please don't bother me." No, that's not verbatim. So then I started seeing videos and people were like, well, we saw this coming because for the last month, he hasn't been in any videos and the editing seemed really weird on the videos. And then all of their like ad reads for their new merch, because they just came out with a like a tracksuit line of clothing.
Sure.
On a side note, I think they're really ugly and they remind me of like the matching tracksuits that like all the grandmas had in like the early 90s. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so like their ad reads for that just didn't have him in it. And so I went and I investigated, and the editing seemed really weird on some of the stuff. It turns out that behind the scenes, they had known basically since Labor Day. They were informed by fans. They had the videos and the pictures sent to them. They asked the fans to have a little bit of time to sort things out before they released it publicly, because there are real people involved who could, be hurt. They spent that month either deleting videos or like archiving them, the ones that they couldn't edit him out of, or going through and digitally removing him from videos.
Right. So you're saying like even videos before that time he's been removed from, essentially?
No, anything that's already been posted, he's there.
Right.
Because they pre-film a lot of things.
Sure. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Like during that time frame, they removed him. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically had to digitally erase him from stuff that they were going to launch like over the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
They decided to move to 1 video a week for the month of October to try to catch up a bit, because that's how much content they have potentially lost.
Mm-hmm.
So behind the scenes, what happened is they found out, they contacted both the employee and Ned. Ned confirmed that they had been in a relationship for a year. And then they started contacting lawyers to see about getting him removed, because at the end of the day, the company that they built is a family-friendly company.
Yeah.
That is focused, like that's, they get like, Target does sponsored videos for them, like Whole Foods, not Whole Foods, but I don't know, some American grocery store, I can't remember. But they get a lot of like family-focused brands that want to sponsor their videos. And yeah, so they had to scramble behind the scenes. Keith happened to be on tour with Lou Berger at the time. And Eugene, I believe, was working on another project. I can't remember what, but he was not around. So Zach was in the office dealing with the lawyers and figuring out what they could do legally and what they could say legally. And they couldn't even tell their employees that that's what was going on. So they just had to be like, Ned's leaving the company. We can't answer any questions. Please edit out of the videos.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me a little bit a guy I know. He runs his own business, and he had a partner, and they were kind of like having a falling out but behind the scenes, but the company was still going. And we spoke after, because he left to make his own different company. But he was saying, like, at the time he was like, hey, if I see you on the street, maybe we could talk about something, but if not, I'll talk to you later. And then there was some emails, and I was like, oh, that's what he was talking about. And we spoke about it afterwards, because like you were saying, he's like, legally I couldn't say things when others were around.
Yeah, right? It's crazy, hey?
Yeah. And not only that, like you're saying, like if you're going to remove somebody from a company that he helped found, like what's that worth? Like how is the structure done? Is there share certificates? He's a director. Like what's the structure, right? Like.
Yeah, I do believe, now this hasn't been confirmed by any of the tri-men, but I've heard rumors that they had, like, for lack of a better word, like a decency clause in their contract, that if they like worked against the like the image of the brand, that they could be terminated.
You're right. If they're out on a big drug bender, and that looks
bad. I believe that helped them out, but that's like more hearsay. It hasn't been
confirmed. I'm also curious, like you were saying, that like you probably don't know, but like the fans that did contact them, like how many people was that they like asked to, please keep that under your wrap, because like that's incredible that they didn't say anything for a month.
I know, right? Like I don't know how many people. There was also a Reddit thread, an infamous Reddit thread that had has like an incredibly detailed timeline. I didn't look it up because I don't understand Reddit, and I'm not going to learn. But there was a Try Guys subreddit with a detailed like timeline that was posted, but like it was my impression that the videos and photos weren't posted until like a month later.
Right. So it was, again, like you're saying, like kind of an unconfirmed story.
Yeah. The Try Guys, they ended up doing a podcast episode about it where they went through they're like, we can't really tell you details. We can only tell you like how we're feeling, how we're dealing with it, and how we're keeping up. But we can't really tell you anything about the actual like scandal.
Yeah.
But before they released that, I mean, the amount of like, I know you're not on TikTok, but it was dominating the TikTok algorithm. Like, I was seeing nothing but Try Guys content and people being like, I don't know who the Try Guys are, but it seems like this Ned guy really fucked up. Like, it was super pervasive over, like, doesn't matter what side of TikTok you were on, you probably got some sort of Try Guys content.
Right.
And so the guys, Keith, Zach, and Eugene, put out a very short YouTube statement called, like, okay, we'll talk about it, or what happened, something like that, right? You know, all lowercase, not a fun thumbnail. You've seen it, you know, the apology videos. It's like that kind of type of thing.
Yeah.
And in it, they just kind of go over what's going on and how they're disappointed in their friend and they didn't know it was going on for the year, and that they're sad, and that they ask people to not bully the women involved because the internet hates women. It was memed quite a bit because Eugene does look like he might rip out Ned's spine with his bare hands and then beat him with it. That's kind of the facial expression going on. But yeah, I thought it was a well done video. I actually think, like, personally, I think they handled the situation really well. If it wasn't a coworker, it seems like overkill, but because she was his employee, I think they did the right thing. Get him out of there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, but not everybody felt the same way, because SNL, Saturday Night Live, did a skit parodying that video that I just described.
Oh, really?
And they completely missed the point. They were like, "Man, we're sad that our friend made out with somebody and didn't tell us about it." Mwah, mwah, mwah. Like, that's basically the video.
Oh, really?
And it's so fucking bizarre to me that in, like, a post-Me Too world, that a large network company would be like, "Oh yeah, you know what's not a big deal? Fucking your employees." Like, it really makes me question what it's like to be a woman working on SNL.
Yeah, or just like you said, the tone deafness of that. It's like someone watched the video and was like, "Oh, we can make fun of this," not realizing that it's like actually there's a backstory that matters for this video.
Well, to add some tinfoil hat intrigue to it, Ned went to Yale, I think, and one of his college friends is now a writer at SNL.
I see.
Yeah, so take that with a grain of salt. Don't know if he wrote it. Don't know if he was trying to make his friend look better than he was. Don't know what happened there, but SNL parodied the Try Guys, and I mean, they're not really that famous, so it seems like punching down.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That seems like such an odd thing to target when you're Saturday Night Live.
Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, to circle back to the statements that were all made in the same font. Mm-hmm. I wanted to highlight that because on the Try Guys tripod, they specifically stated that their statement was not connected to Ned's statement in any way, and that he had copied their formatting and their font to make it look like it was a united front on what was going on.
Right, or that it seemed like it was all from the company's pen, as it were.
Yeah. And I mean, because of that, some people were speculating that it was for a video, that they were doing like, "Try Guys, try getting canceled."
It was all a prank, bro.
But I'm starting to think maybe no, because it's been a month.
Right.
Or more. It's been like 2 months now.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're pulling on the long con.
Oh man, that would be wicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what happened. And then like a whole bunch of mainstream news outlets have been like picking up this story and writing think pieces about it, like Variety, the New York Times. Like they're all writing about this little like YouTube group.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like varying levels of support for them. Some people like SNL are definitely taking the like, who cares? He kissed somebody. Why'd you fire him approach? But yeah, I think, yeah, if you're fucking around with your employees, you should get fired. I'm sorry. Like I know that like she was engaged and people are like, you can't talk about him without also talking about how shitty she is. And I'm like, yeah, okay, she cheated on her fiance, but it's a different dynamic when it's somebody like 10 years older than you who signs your paychecks that you're having an affair with. Like, I'm not saying he forced her, but it's different than two consenting adults. Like, it's not the same.
Like you say, it's always a bad look.
What's that? It's a bad look. Yeah.
Yeah. No matter how things started or are sliced, it's like it's your employee that's bad.
Yeah, like just have an affair with somebody else, not a fan. That's also bad, but like not someone you work with. I know, like, you work a lot. You're a workaholic. Those are the people you see, but you can't have a relationship when you're somebody's boss. If they were both equal, if she was also an owner of the company, that's totally different. But you can't fuck your employees. Like you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were right to fire him because if she said that they're still liable if she comes out and says he forced me to do it. They still own the company. They're still on the hook. Like regardless whether or not they were new or were involved or anything.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's interesting because comparatively to say like examples we've seen in large corporations or other industries, Hollywood, for example, that like maybe without the, like you said, it's a smaller company. Maybe they don't, they don't have like a big HR thing. Maybe that there's not that the response was like, yep, fire him, get him out of here, rather than like this long drawn out thing, like what's going on, and then there's more media and all sorts of junk about it. It's just like, nope, it's bad. Like, because they're more dialed into like the internet is their thing. They know things are quick, and they know, like you said, that it's just a bad look. So they're just like, it's over.
Get him out. Yeah. Well, the other thing is mentioning HR. Again, I don't have any concrete like from the mouth of the boys, but it is my impression that Ned was in charge of HR.
Right. I investigated myself and there was no problems.
Yeah. No, they actually hired an outside firm to come in and do a thorough investigation to see who else was involved, if he had done it to anybody else. Mm-hmm. Like, I think they handled it really, really well, in my opinion. And I think if SNL, which, famously not out of touch SNL.
I was about to say famously sucks, but I don't know. I don't want to insult anyone who likes their SNL. But
yeah, if you like SNL, that's fine. But they don't really have like a clue. But like, if SNL wanted to parody it, there's a lot of like funny things they could have done, right? Like, they could have made fun of Ned hitting on 10-year-olds or something. I don't know. They could have done a lot of things.
Sure.
But they chose to like make fun of the fact that an employer had a relationship with an employee. And it's a bad look. It's a bad look in 2022.
Well, and I was going to say at the end of this, because we're recording late October, of course, you were saying they've been releasing videos and there were some statements, but has there been any announcement of like here's our next project or how we're going forward, or is it just like they're still just releasing some content and like like it seems like they're trying to decide a direction or whatever. Like,
Yeah, so
what's your sense there?
Their plan is to release as much as they can that was pre-recorded, editing out Ned where they can. There's talk of doing like a video compilation of stuff that doesn't involve Ned from the videos that they shot that were funny, but they couldn't show you the whole video.
Right.
But they said that they're going to carry on the way they've been carrying on until the end of the year, and then they might look at some new formats in the new year once things have settled down a bit. They're not shutting down or anything.
Okay. Well, or I was gonna say, or they're gonna be like, we should bring in another person, like some more outside talent or something like that to.
Oh, they talked about that as well, and they are not going to replace him and have a fourth try guy. But they do want to have guests on that kind of, because like there's 3 white guys and an Asian guy. So they're like, we want to bring on guests that are from like all different backgrounds, all different body types, all different genders, all different sexualities, and all different ages to kind of try stuff with them, but won't be necessarily like a recurring try guy going forward.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, and like they do have some, like they already have some recurring guests. Like Quasi is a guy that they have on the show a lot. He's quite funny. He was on one of their Without a Recipes. They were making donuts, and he just made like Jamaican jerk donuts that were like too spicy to eat, basically.
Nice.
But yeah, so they do have kind of like recurring guests, but for now they're not going to find a 4th member to replace Ned.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know what's going to happen with any of their partner stuff, because they have You Can Sit With Us, which is all their partners doing a podcast. They had Try Wives Wine Time was like a recurring show where the Try Wives, the wives of the Try guys, would drink wine and do stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with that, if they're going to carry it on without Ariel, or if she's still going to be involved. It's all kind of up in the air.
Right.
But man, it sucks. It all sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sucks for everybody involved.
Yeah.
It really, my heart does go out a bit to Ned and Ariel's kids, because the internet lasts forever. Sure. If they ever Google their dad, they're going to find out he was just kind of a dick to their mom. Yeah. Like, if they work things out and they stay together, that's still out there forever, you know?
Yes.
Sucks for their kids.
Yeah, and that that's like you're saying, and if they're like the initial incident, they're making out, and it's just like, oh, it was like a one-time thing, and he was drunk or something, whatever. Obviously, it's still bad, but that'd be between him and his partner, Ariel, I guess. But then it was like, oh no, it was a year-long thing. You're like, okay, well, that's clearly a more methodical, thought-out process here.
Yeah. I think that the producer, her fiance, left her. Sure. I think, because he apparently, I don't know, I didn't go on it, but his Instagram, he took away all the pictures that he had with her, and then he deleted his Instagram. So I think that their relationship might be over.
Right.
Which, I mean, like, fair play if you're a monogamous couple and your partner is not monogamous before you even get married. You may not want to work that out.
Sure.
This is why monogamy is bad.
Well, or I was gonna say, it's like, how long were they engaged, and if it was like for much of the engagement she was also in this other relationship, yeah, probably not the best start.
I think they've been together 10 years. They were together.
Wow.
Yeah, so a while. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting and crazy, like you said, because it's like when these things happen, there is an insular bubble. But then I didn't know Saturday Night Live did a skit about it, that there was these other articles written, And I guess because probably the BuzzFeed origin also feeds into that it was like, because it came from a quote unquote news agency that,
Oh yeah.
that it was like, oh, these people, you know, there's some kind of integrity there or whatever, right? Like, and so
I mean,
kinda...
honestly, like Becky, Keith's wife, her TikToks and her Twitter is kind of fire right now because she's just like, oh, it's not called vague booking anymore, right? It's called subtweeting, I guess. Just like calling out all these BuzzFeed employees that are now like getting interviews with Variety and stuff because they knew Ned back in the day.
Sure, yeah.
She's just like, you guys are vultures.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, if a reporter comes to you and is like, hey, were they weird back in the day? And be like, well, you know, they were weird in that they did comedy. Done.
Yeah.
and then that gets blown into, well, weirdo from back in the day. And it's like a whole paragraph. And it was like, no, it was just like one sentence answer.
Yeah, totally, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we eventually get canceled and all of the big news companies are coming to like interview us about our cancellation, I'm just gonna throw you under the bus. I'm gonna be like, Dan eats babies.
Dan edited it, so he did all sorts of weird stuff.
He was like, every episode he would just come on and be like, Harvey Weinstein was right. That's how he greeted me.
Yeah.
He kicks puppies in his spare time. That's what climbing is. He just goes to like puppy orphanages and kicks for a couple hours.
I would hope not.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn the crops and salt the earth.
Yeah.
Going on record right now. Everybody listen up. Dan has like just, he doesn't have a heart. It's just evil. It is just. He has had sex with all of our employees.
I was gonna say, it's only when I'm DMing that the evil.
You're not an evil DM. I am. Like, you guys have to kill these kids. That's the mission.
Yeah. I know the rules. It's a problem.
They don't know I'll be the one getting canceled.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's very fascinating to me because, like I said, I had no idea, but it's clearly like you're saying, and what I was kind of trying to point out, and like we've talked about before with other internet drama, where it's like, because it takes place in this bubble, that it's the thing that the bubble is talking about and aware of, but everyone outside the bubble is kind of like, what, right? And that's that's not to say that doesn't happen every day with other scandals or things that happen in other, genres or fandoms or anything like there's always something weird happening.
Oh, totally. Like when I was suggesting this, you brought up a different scandal that I don't even remember, and I know you don't want to talk about it, so I won't say what it is. Yeah. But I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well, and it was kind of happening around the same time, so.
I was just like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. And like you were saying, because of the way the internet is not only permanent but runs as quickly as it does, and it's just like, and it's like it's good and bad, like we've talked about before, right? Because it can lead to, you know, bad takes, hot takes, or whatever, that because people are just trying to get in there and get their opinion or the clicks. But it's like maybe we should wait for a bit for some nuance, which, like you said in this story, they did. They asked people to wait for 3 weeks or whatever, and they checked it all out, and then they were like, yep, time to make things happen.
Yeah. I've already said it, but I'll say it again. I think that, you know, for a shitty situation that, you know, you don't really, there's no handbook for that. I think they handled it really well. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that whatever they offered Ned to kind of step away quietly seemed to work too, because he hasn't been active on any social media right now. I'm sure that in like 6 months, maybe he'll come up with his own channel where he's working on his marriage with his wife. I don't think he'll stay out of the public eye very long, honestly. Like, I think when you're doing when you're internet famous or any sort of famous for as long as they've been, like 8 years, right? It's just hard to give that up.
Sure, and I was about to say that's like that's longer than most bands, even, because bands usually last about 7 years, and so it's hard to maintain or to create content for that long, right?
Oh, absolutely. So like I wouldn't be surprised if he pops up with his own channel where he, I don't know, goes to a marriage counseling or something. Or maybe, if his wife leaves, decides like she doesn't want to be married to him, then maybe he'll become another fucking pickup artist. Poisoning the well of the YouTube youths.
You're right, yeah.
So either way, good for him.
Mm-hmm. It's a fascinating story. I'm glad you told me about it, just because it is interesting, and it's like you said, it's interesting to hear about how these people in this company handled it in a humane way, without like more craziness.
Yeah, I just think they handled it well. I think that their whole story is really interesting, the way that they've gone out on their own, they created a brand, they've branched out to do other things, and then they had something bad happen and they handled it well. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I just think it's, in a world of grown men sending horse pictures to each other, I'm glad that the Try Guys exist. Actually, he's in trouble again, too, hey? Ethan Klein?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't remember why. I think his employee walked out on him or something because he was making anti-Semitic jokes, but he's also Jewish, so he thinks it's okay.
Right.
Which I don't know. I have no comment on that whatsoever.
Good play.
Yeah. But I am going to write a 100-page dissertation on why I hate, I don't know, pick a minority. I'm going to get canceled. I think it'll do wonders for our show.
Yeah. Like I said, the long con, the purpose canceled.
Oh, actually, that was one interesting thing, is that in the podcast, Zach said that he is like, honestly, like, this scandal, this drama has brought an insane amount of traffic to our videos. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I kind of understand why some creators just create drama to get clicks and views. And he's like, from my point of view, it's not worth it. We're never doing this again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like, I thought, oh yeah, that's an honest response, because there are a lot of YouTubers and internet personalities that do that are like, pick a fight or whatever.
I was about to say nearly the entirety of Twitter and all of the right wingosphere.
Yeah. Maybe that's what Ned will do. He'll become a talking head like Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, it's the only answer.
I mean, it's easy because you don't actually have to research anything, right? You could just say whatever pops into your stupid little head.
Yep.
And then you can just like phrase it like a hypothetical. And then nobody can fact check you because it's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Let's say that Ben Shapiro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions, comments, or concerns about the Try Guys?
No, like I said, I'm. It's a neat story, and I'm glad you told me about it. And I had never really heard about them, and good for them.
Yeah, are you so proud of me for having organized notes?
Yeah, absolutely. It was well researched and detailed.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to the show. If you've made it this far, you can find us at our website, tomeofuselessness.com. You can find the episodes on Apple and iTunes and Spotify and all those good places that you get your podcasts from. You can email us, topic suggestions, questions, comments, fun videos, tomeofuselessness@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.